Flippin' Out Radio.
It's real. Oh, you knucklehead.
South Jersey, North Jersey, what's the difference?
Turnpike Throwdown.
Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
They're two guys from opposite ends of the state.
The Turnpike Throwdown.
They're both from Jersey, but the similarities stop there.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Turnpike Throwdown. And after that interesting baseball interview, losing my mind here. We're going to get into basketball, getting ahead of myself. And joined on the phone, we do have, once again, the Flippin' Out NBA correspondent, Bryant Aquino. Bryant, how are you this evening?
How you guys doing?
Not too bad. You catch my Sixers taking an L in Oklahoma tonight?
Yeah. They're still in the 7th spot, though.
Yeah, we were actually going to get right into that because obviously most of the talk around here in this part of the woods, this part of the town and this neck of the woods, I guess I'm trying to say, is the mellow talk, and obviously it should be, but
New York City.
I think it's gone under the radar that the Sixers have at least played admirably lately. Is there something that you can enlighten us with on that? Like how have people been playing, Drew Holiday, stuff like that, and what maybe the expectations for Evan Turner have been so far, and possibly just Doug Collins in general. In respect to Evan Turner, coming into the league when he got drafted, he was supposed to be one of those players that could contribute right away. But when they plugged him in, he wasn't doing that well. He's picked it up recently because now he's a starter and he's getting minutes. But it seems like he's a little more of a project than they first expected. But overall, he won't be a player that kills you. But in the next couple of years, he'll be a main contributor for the team, if not already. He doesn't score as much as everybody thought he would, but he does rebound, he does dish the ball, so that's not bad. And for Drew Holiday, last year at the end of the season when he took over the starting job, he was doing a really, really great job. But now this year he's pretty inconsistent. But as long as that leads to W's, it's not a big problem.
So what do you think of Doug Collins' influence on the team so far?
Before this year, I didn't really have I didn't think big of Doug Collins, but after he took over from Mo Cheeks, what he's done to the team, it's been really good. With Mo Cheeks, I think his big problem was fitting Elton Brand, an all-star, in, and he made Elton Brand look like a mediocre player. But Elton Brand's not what he used to be with the Clippers, of course. But he's playing to what he should be, at least right now.
Well, Brian, and again, we're talking with Brian Aquino, Flippin' Out Radio NBA correspondent here on the Turnpike Throwdown. And Brian, the Sixers probably didn't come into this season with much in terms of expectations, but they're 7-3 over their last 10, at 33-31. Obviously, took a tough loss in Oklahoma tonight. Basically, got Kevin Duranted, if you will. But this Philadelphia team, where are they going? Is a guy like Andre Iguodala kind of coming into his own to the point where maybe he is that superstar that paired with a guy like Elton Brand could make this team a legitimate title contender for the next few years?
I don't see Iguodala as one of the main guys for a championship team. He'd be an excellent third wheel, but his jump shot is inconsistent, and in order to be that go-to guy, you need the jump shot. You need the mid-range jumper, especially. And his three-point shooting is pretty erratic. But, from the rumors that have been going around, they've been trying to trade him, and they've found no takers yet. He's been rumored to be going to New Jersey even before the trade deadline, but that didn't happen.
Now, Brian, speaking of Iguodala, he was a quick fan favorite in Philadelphia. The guy could jump through the roof, and I think you would even agree with me that he got robbed in the slam dunk contest. Nate Robinson, in his 50 tries. But do you think that Iguodala's enormous contract that he got a few years ago, not only was it possibly undeserved, but do you think it maybe set the team back a little bit?
It set the team back, but if they were going to lose him, they really had no one to go after, and they had no one to put that franchise label on. But right now you can't complain with the Sixers on the seventh seed in the Eastern Conference. It's not phenomenal in the Eastern Conference, but that's not that bad. everybody touts New York as a better team now, but lo and behold, the Sixers only about 1.5 games back.
Yeah, they've been surging lately. You know, it seems like they've kind of gotten some more chemistry going lately. Iguodala has actually picked it up. You know, he's had a few doubles here. Had actually, I think the Sixers are actually 30-17 in the last 47 games. Iggy actually had back-to-back triple doubles. Excuse me. So you know, at least you know there's something there to kind of be able to say, all right, good job, admirable season, and you're at least somewhat moving in the right direction. But moving on from the Sixers, as we look at other teams around the league, obviously a lot's been made of what's going on with the Heat lately. They've lost and oh my God, an extraordinary 5 games in a row. Perhaps it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Not only if they the whole LeBron thing hadn't happened, but perhaps it wouldn't be that big of a deal if the coach hadn't, come out and said that, guys were crying in the locker room, and a lot has been made about that, whether or not, he's just trying to say that they have heart. But does anybody really question that these guys want to win? I mean, is there anybody really out there? Does anybody need that confirmation that LeBron James and Dwayne Wade will do anything to win?
Definitely not. I mean, just the fact that they all signed on the same team, they're all somewhat willing to give up that go-to guy mentality. I mean, it says something about them wanting to win. Chris Bosh took a decent pay cut to be on there, and now you see all these other veteran role players who some of them were all-stars, like Mike Bibby, wanting to join the Heat for a lot less than they used to get.
Yeah, it's like a collection of players. I mean, you see Bibby, and I was actually always a big fan of his. He really did well when he was playing in Arizona. I remember watching him in that March Madness that year, and just that team really did so well. And I was always one of those guys that rooted for, with no rooting interest in the team because they're a West Coast team, and I wouldn't really follow them. But I always rooted for the Kings, to beat the Lakers, and I was upset obviously when that Robert Horry shot went down and stuff like that. But yeah, it's right. Players like Bibby, who had really supplanted themselves as one of the not elite but upper tier players in the league for years.
I'd say he was elite when he was with the Kings.
Yeah, that team was disgusting. The fact that they didn't win the championship is a shame. But Bibby, players like that coming to the Heat, they are just trying to make this collective mass of positive energy and as Charlie Sheen would say, winning. But it's just not happening right now. So do you think, there's really anything to read into this? Or, obviously the team's going to take some time to get together, but do you think that this is going to be a development going into next year, or do you think that they have a legitimate shot to win it all this year?
Oh, they're dangerous this year. No doubt they're dangerous. You look at Boston and what they did in 1 year, but if you look at all those 3 guys, Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, they're older statesmen of the league. They knew what needed to get done. These guys are still young. They're phenomenal, like elite players of the league, but if you look at their ages, they're very young, and I think they'll eventually figure out. And even this year's playoffs, I think they'll be really dangerous. The media has this whole thing about going after great teams who are on a losing streak. Before All-Star break, the Lakers were on a losing skid, I think, of 5 to 7 games, and everybody was saying, "Oh, are they done? Are they done?" But this happens every year where an elite team will go into this landslide. But in the end, the Lakers showed, they were the team to beat, and I think the Heat have that mindset this year that they're the team to beat, and I think it's just the added pressure and learning to play with each other that's going to be hard.
Brian, this is James, and again, we're talking with Brian Aquino of Flippin Out Radio, our NBA correspondent, and it's kind of interesting. It seems like you're not really buying into this sort of new NBA blood that's being put out there. You're not buying into the Sixers run, the Knicks. You're not necessarily feeling them, even though they've got these big time acquisitions, and you're still very confident in the Heat. Don't you think there's some chinks in the armor there, Brian? You got Chris Bosh apparently saying, "Hey, listen, I don't know if my role is exactly what it should be. I want the ball more." Dwayne Wade kind of crying about the fact that he goes to these opposing arenas and people are getting on him, and that they're the big-time bad guy, and he doesn't know why that is, and all this sort of thing. Seems to me like this is kind of a realization of what some people saw as potentially a problem for the Miami Heat when you have those young guys together in the prime of their careers, big-time egos. They're all supposed to be focusing on the prize, but isn't it possible that this is kind of a manifestation of a problem we saw them possibly having? It's not like Chris Bosh is that big-time guy down low that you can throw to in the post and try to, muscle some games out come playoff time.
Yeah, they do have some chinks in their armor, but I mean, like I said again, they're very young guys. You look at a team like New York, they have two players who, I'll even say one player who was the star of the team. Before Amari came to the Knicks, he was playing second fiddle to Steve Nash. But I mean, with the Heat, you have Chris Bosh, who was the face of Toronto, Dwayne Wade, the face of the Heat, and LeBron James, the face of pretty much the NBA right now, all trying to play on the same team. I mean, it's going to take some time to work out. It might not be this year, it might not be next year, but I mean, those guys are signed there for a while, and I would be very surprised if either any of them were traded or if they did not win a title together.
Very interesting. I mean, I think that they've kind of assembled this mock dream team in a sense, and they're obviously missing just that big man or whatever piece it is that'll put it all together where they could be quote unquote what is loosely termed a dynasty nowadays. But at the same time, right now, I think people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves and maybe jumping off the bridge a bit too soon and overreacting. But it is pretty funny, the whole crying incident.
No, I think it's great personally when you think about the fact that this is a team that anointed themselves.
Well, everybody's rooting against them. Everybody.
Exactly.
The Kings of South Beach.
They thought they were saying that when they signed there, it wasn't a matter of if they were going to win title, it was going to be when they were going to win title.
Exactly.
And
that's what I'm talking about. And I think maybe it's not enough for them to have one after they kind of bang it around and figure it out over these first 3 years. This was supposed to be the team that set the league on fire, no pun intended. And, I mean, we've seen that at times from them. They definitely beat up on the bad teams in the league. But who other than the Lakers of the elite teams have they beaten? And I don't see enough toughness on this team other than from a guy like Dwayne Wade, who might be thinking to himself right now, what the hell did I get myself into, frankly? That's what I say when I look at a team like that.
Because Wade's already got a ring.
Yeah, he's got his ring. He's got his hardware. LeBron's still the guy kind of who was like, oh, maybe I can go here and get it. This seems easy. Let's get a ring here. That sounds good. I can go to South Beach. I can party. I can be this big time.
Jordan's got to be
boss
loving
down
this.
there.
Jordan's loving this.
What a freaking joke. I love that the Heat are going through this, and I hope they continue to cry.
That's a Knicks fan for you.
That's just me being truthful.
Calm down. You got Melo. Jesus.
You have two players that are almost the same at different positions, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah,
and everybody says, go with the hot hand. What if they're both hot? Are they going to argue over who's hotter?
Yeah, I mean, they're stepping on each other's toes possibly because, we had talked off air, Brian, about how not to compare them to Jordan and Pippen, but in that sense where Jordan and Pippen, they had their roles, all these great teams that have the dynamic duos, so to speak, they have their roles, though, and it seems like right now Wade and LeBron are kind of stuck in the same role, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at their last few games that they won, each player, Wade and LeBron, have been putting up decent stats all around the board, and it puzzles me how they're losing this. I mean, I'm not a big Heat fan myself, and I am enjoying this, but still, it blows my mind how they're not winning right now.
All right, listen, Brian, thanks so much for the time. We got to take a break. We'll have you back on. It's Turnpike Throwdown. He's Brian Aquino. We'll be back with more after this. It's Jeff Costello and James Flippin, Turnpike Throwdown.
Jeff Fafa and Flips. The Turnpike Throwdown. Flipping Out Radio,